What is up, everybody? What's going on? And welcome, Star Wars fans. Today, happy Star Wars Day, every single person across the galaxy. Joining me today is my man, AJ. Follow him on Twitter at AJ_Geek Vibes. What's up, AJ? Happy Star Wars Day.
I'm so excited. I asked off today just to do a podcast, and I'm loving it. Star Wars for life. Got my Mandalorian shirt on. If you can see that. There we go.
Nice.
I'm so happy. So happy.
Love it. I've got my Mandalorian shirt on. I've got my Yoda ears on. Oh, man. It's a good time to be a Star Wars fan. Need to get my banner up right there. What the heck are we doing today? Today we are ranking all the Star Wars films and TV shows. We're not including the Ewoks and the droids and the holiday special. We're talking about the nuts and bolts of the Star Wars franchises. It's going to be a ton of fun. Right now, we have our tier system right here. Oh, by the way, if you guys are new to the channel, make sure you hit that like and subscribe button. We have a brand new Suit Up channel that we're trying to build a following. So please be sure to give that hit that subscribe button. So, AJ, lead us off, man. Are there any S tiers in this list of films and TV shows? What do you think?
S tiers. Okay. Clone Wars. I'm starting this off real big. Clone Wars. Just for me, everything about Clone Wars was amazing. Even season 1 through like 3. I know people had a little rough start with those 3 seasons, but for me, I was in love with Ahsoka the first time I saw her with the movie. Just everything about Clone Wars, I love. The characterization with Obi-Wan and Anakin together. This was honestly like the first step for me of loving the prequels, was like with everything I have. I was still, even when I was little, I was still a little iffy with the prequels between 1, 2, and 3. I still do till this day, but Clone Wars made the prequels 5,000 times better. I just love everything about Clone Wars, especially that first episode starting off with Yoda. Yeah, I just love how badass Yoda was, and just start us off with all that. It was greatness, and then you get a little bit into Qui-Gon Jinn, you get a little bit into Anakin as a master, as a Padawan, just everything, and then you get the brotherhood of Obi-Wan and Anakin. Then you get Asajj Ventress. There's greatness. And then you get the continuation of Darth Maul from Phantom Menace. There's so much you can dive into within Phantom Menace. It just makes... If you don't like the Clone Wars, you don't know what you're doing with your life. That's all I have to say. So Clone Wars for me is S tier.
Dude, where would we be without Dave Filoni right now, man? Whether you love or hate, the new trilogy there, I think it's safe to say the films haven't done the characters justice. But then you get to the Clone Wars, and I'm so happy you picked the Clone Wars, because To the Core is like literally my favorite anime.
That is Star Wars. Clone Wars is the definition of Star Wars.
In Dave Filoni, we trust. This is a man who truly understands character development. I mean, if you haven't watched the Clone Wars yet, just watch the last season, season 8, and we just got done watching The Bad Batch, which essentially is a continuation of season 8, which I'm absolutely floored about. We'll be doing a review on that tonight.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to say you have to watch all of Clone Wars before you get to
but my
take
gosh,
your time with it. Watch season 1 all the way to season 8. You'll thank me afterwards.
It's
don't get started with season 8.
I 100% agree. S tier for the Clone Wars. I'm just going to make quick work of this because we'll get called out if we didn't. The Empire Strikes Back. I mean, The Empire Strikes Back absolutely 100% deserves an S ranking. You look at it's had one of the best cliffhangers of all time. Literally 3 years between The Empire Strikes Back, Return of the Jedi. It was just monumental in terms of taking Star Wars and just upping the ante every single way. Bigger battles, bigger lightsabers battles. The Battle of Hoth. The moment of Han and Leia when she says "I love you" and Han goes "I know," and like
so good.
The Imperial March theme song. Like there's so much epicness about The Empire Strikes Back. I Am Your Father. It goes on and on and on and on. I'm just gonna put this in S tier. Any disagreement with that?
No. Favorite Star Wars movie of all time, still to this day. And it came out when? Like 1980. It came out. And it's still the best Star Wars for me. It's still the best one.
All right. Any other S tiers in here for you? I have one.
It's tough.
I have one.
See, for me, my issue is season 1 with Rebels. But everything else with Rebels is S tier. Forget it. Rebels, S tier.
Wow. All right.
Rebels, S tier.
All right. So obviously, everything I love about the Clone Wars is evident and present in the Rebels, only it's just a little condensed more. And I think because of that, I think it's, for me personally, and this might be a hot take, I don't know where you stand, AJ, I like Rebels more than the Clone Wars. I thought it's a condensed story. I thought it had more emotional weight to it, although season 8, the last 4 episodes were just ridiculous. Absolutely, pure cinema, masterpiece, some of the best Star Wars we have ever seen. But there's also some of the best Star Wars we have ever seen in Star Wars Rebels. When you're talking about best Star Wars moments of all time, Star Wars Rebels has it. Twilight of the Apprentice. The list goes on and on. Like the Darksaber. Like there's so many epic moments in Star Wars Rebels. I'm in between like an S and an A tier though. So I will say A. I will say A. Any argument with that?
I would probably put it in an A as well because of that first season. It went off a little slow for me, especially coming off of Clone Wars. But like you said, for me, I do agree that Rebels storyline is a little bit focused because it's focusing on those main characters specifically. Whereas Clone Wars, it jumps from like different clones, and then it jumps to like Obi-Wan storyline, and then it jumps to Anakin, and then it jumps to Ahsoka, and sometimes all together. And then you get a Saj Ventress storyline, you get a Darth Maul storyline. You get a lot. For me, I think you get a lot more with Clone Wars, but Rebels, you still get a more focused storyline on specific characters like Zeb, like Ezra, like Kanan, as a crew. So I want to keep it in S tier because of that specific reason, but I'm gonna keep it in S tier. Actually, we're
gonna keep it in S tier just because we love Dave and respect Dave so much. S tier it is. I mean, Sabine Wren, the Trial of the Darksaber with Bo-Katan. Like, there's so many epic storylines in Rebels, which I absolutely love. Cody says I put Empire at S. Yeah,
for sure. 100%. The only movie that deserves S tier recognition right there.
Yep.
Only one.
Yep. All right, and I'm gonna add a show here that I think rightfully should also be here. I'm going Mandalorian. I think Mandalorian should absolutely be S tier, not only for what it means, how epic this show has been, but for what it means for Star Wars moving forward. I mean, this has completely changed the game. What it means to be a Star Wars fan. They're combining canons with the animated series and this series. You look at the Bad Batch. Everything's kind of coming together. Whereas everything was so divisive. It's not hard to forget that, like, literally 5 years ago, Star Wars was a mess. It was the most toxic fan base, like, out there, right up there with like DC versus Marvel. Like, it was brutal. And now we have the Mandalorian, which has set the bar, set the standard. Thank you, Dave Filoni and Jon Favreau, for creating a story and really planting the seeds, the roots of what to expect from Star Wars. And there's so much coming now. That the Ahsoka Tano, let's go Grogu reveal, from the Ahsoka Tano reveal to the Luke Skywalker reveal. Like, there's so much being planted in this series, quality wise, visual wise, music wise. Ludwig Göransson, like, you would never mistake this for a TV show. Like, every single ounce of this show feels like pure cinema for me. I'm giving it an S tier. What about you?
I'm gonna give it an A tier.
Okay.
The only reason why I don't put it on the level of like Empire Strikes Back, Clone Wars, or Rebels is because I'm like you. You think it has that cinema aspect to it, which I do think it does. But the production, I think it's with the stagecraft technology, for it being new for Star Wars specifically. It just felt a little condensed, like the overall, like, what is it? The world felt like a little condensed to me.
Okay.
Every area looks like it was just been like, if you notice with season 1 of Mandalorian, he just walks in like one straight line every single time, and it feels weird to me that it's like that, but that's just me being a nitpick right there. Everything else I really do love. The action, the banter between Din and IG-11, and just droids in general I really love. Seeing Ahsoka live action finally is definitely an S tier moment for me. For me, Ahsoka is my favorite character of all time in Star Wars. So seeing her in live action, dream come true right there. And Rosario Dawson playing her as well. Everybody wanted her. So it right there is just, it just hits a lot more. And then you get the dark saber, and you get the lore between that a little bit in there. And then you get Bo-Katan, who, oh my goodness, there's a lot of S tier moments in there. But because of that production value, right, for me, the technology is like a little bit iffy. Yeah. Fair as the first Star Wars show, but I'm gonna have to keep it an A. I'm gonna keep it an A for right now.
All right, we'll throw it down to an A. Let's keep it rolling. Are there any other S tiers on the bottom of this visual chart here, man?
S tier.
How about A New Hope? Does A New Hope belong in the S tier, which started it all?
It's true.
I don't know. We literally have the binary sunset to our background here. It's my personal favorite.
Hey, if you want an S tier, you can have an S tier. I won't have any arguments with it.
Oh man. No, I'm gonna leave it. But if you're not, I'm gonna definitely throw it in the A tier if you don't mind.
No, I agree 100% on that one.
All right, I'm throwing in the A tier. Like I said, A New Hope started the game, changed the game. Just was so refreshing at the time, and like I said, the binary sunset right behind our graphic here is hands down my favorite film. I'm a huge film score nerd, as you could probably tell. So the binary sunset, just Luke staring at the sky, the stars, and his whole destiny in front of him. Just this young kid who has no idea what and how big the universe is. Like, that just gives me goosebumps every time I've watched it. I got to go A New Hope here, even though like the Empire is so much better and all that kind of stuff. Like, I don't know why, but A New Hope is so much more rewatchable for me. I've seen it way more than Empire, and I don't understand why. There's just something about it that I just cherish. Do you agree with the A tier?
Yeah, I agree with A tier. I think Star Wars: A New Hope is the best title in Star Wars as a whole. To go back to your point, for me, I think it's more rewatchable because it's more lighthearted than Empire Strikes Back. So I think that's part of the reason why most people would rather rewatch New Hope than Empire. At least I think so. But yeah, you get a whole new. I think Star Wars reinvented the um trio. Um, Getting trios in movies. So you got Luke, Han, Leia, who are basically iconic characters at this point, and it started off with A New Hope, and just getting all of them together, and given this is off topic, but getting us even. It was because of New Hope that everybody is so excited because of The Force Awakens. Everybody thought that we were going to get them again within Force Awakens, and I think everybody just loves this trio. You have Luke, Han, Leia, which is just, I guess, the best trio in Star Wars or in film history. And then, like you said, you get the binary sunset. You get there's just so much. It's probably one of the best hero journey stories for me. And then the reason why I put Empire Strikes Back above of it is it just helps, like, it helps develop that story a lot more. And that's probably like the only reason why I put New Hope into A tier, is because it's still that simple hero's journey for me. And that's why I want to keep it at A tier.
Yep. Awesome. Any other A tiers on this list, man?
I'm gonna put Rogue One.
Nice.
I'm gonna put Rogue One on A tier.
I fully agree.
I love the concept of Rogue One, of being like a separate story in between type of storyline that they were going for.
Sorry.
I love how they were doing like in between stories, or they were starting to start with in between stories within Star Wars. I really love that concept. I wish they could have done it. I wish they could have done the execution of like the overall plan better. But Rogue One as a movie, I feel like it's just a great movie as a whole. You get a ragtag team fighting to save the world. Just I really love that concept with Rogue One, and everybody wanted to know who the people were that stole the Death Star plans, who's the one that actually like saved everyone from total destruction and all of that. And then we get it, and then people get mad, and then people are happy because the movie was good. It like you said before, it was the Star Wars fandom was an entire mess at that point in time.
Yeah.
But we do get Darth Vader in this.
So good.
And it's probably the most epic Star Wars thing that we've seen since Empire Strikes Back.
Yeah.
For me, I think it even surpasses the moments in Empire Strikes Back as like the badass moment. And live action, I'm just going to say live action because animated far surpasses everything in live action anyway for me. So yeah, in live action, just seeing Darth Vader just killing the rebels, it's greatness. So A tier for me for Rogue One.
I think there's also argument to make this an S tier. I think it's that good. Definitely agree though. Let's keep it at A. I mean, this is a movie that truly found its footing in a Star Wars world that it struggled developing characters and knowing what to do with characters. There was a real vision here. Mads Mikkelsen was terrific. Jin was terrific. What was the droid K2SO was terrific.
Yeah.
I am one with the Force, and the Force is with me. I forget that dude's name. I'm drawing a blank, but that was awesome. Like, there's so many epic moments in this film, and you nailed it with the Darth Vader. That last 5 minutes clip. I still go back and watch the YouTube reactions to everyone freaking out with that. We have Chris joining. Happy May the 4th. What's going on, Chris?
Of course.
Fourth, man.
Greatness.
I love it. Rogue One absolutely deserves its place there. I think that's like right around the time that Star Wars finally found itself and knowing how to be successful as a franchise moving forward. This was like one of the first steps into that in terms of live action. Let's go on to, I gotta put it. I really want to. I'm going to put The Last Jedi in the A tier. And I really enjoyed The Last Jedi because it flipped the script literally. And there's not much cohesion here. You obviously had Force Awakens, The Last Jedi, and The Rise of Skywalker, and we can go on and on about how no vision, there was no storyboarding, there was no clear path for any of these characters. But what I truly enjoy from Rian Johnson here is that he had an idea and it was fresh. And what you saw from Force Awakens, it was just overstuffed, so cliche. Just nostalgia is fun, but to a point. And you look at kind of what J.J. Abrams did there. I think it was J.J. For Rise of Skywalker. It was a lot of the same stuff. There was a lot of fluff, a lot of filler, and they just completely butchered the character development. And then you have The Last Jedi, which completely threw these characters upside down. And I actually really respect that kind of vision. And treating the Skywalker saga, just trying to throw in new wrinkles in it. And that's what I actually enjoyed. What's your response to that, man? Would that be an A tier for you?
Yes, I love Last Jedi. I love it with all my heart. It's funny because the worst trilogy in Star Wars is the prequels. But what I hate right now is that the prequels, like overall story, is like the best planned out of all the trilogies. It's just the execution of the trilogies is just what like messes everything up.
Yeah.
And then you have The Last Jedi, you have The Force Awakens, and then you have Rise of Skywalker. For me, I love all three of these movies, but the execution was terrible. As a whole storyline, I'm not talking about the movies specifically, but them focusing on the story as a whole was just done terribly. It seemed like there was no plan, which I hate to admit. And then, like you said, they just focused too much on filler. They focused too much on people's nostalgia, which should never happen. Nostalgia should be only used minimally, and they just used it all out. And cool.
It was shoved down your throat. It was shoved down your throat.
Yeah, it was too much. And for me, let me just focus on Last Jedi. Last Jedi as a movie, I felt like was done great. I love Luke Skywalker. A lot of people hate the character of Luke Skywalker in Last Jedi, but George Lucas was going to go down our road regardless if you hated it or not. So I wouldn't hate Rian Johnson for making that choice, because the people that wanted George Lucas back, that's what you were going to get regardless. So I'm sorry, but it doesn't matter what Mark Hamill said. The creator said that he would have gone down this route as well. Rian Johnson went down this route. I'm fine with the way they went to it, especially since reading the comics. And his storyline makes sense all the way through Last Jedi. And then you get Rey and Ben. I love those two together. I wish we could have gotten more interaction with them like that within like all the way all of them all the way through. And then you get Leia, and then it's great. I really love the story as The Last Jedi. I really love that story as a specific solo film. But like I said, the trilogy is just an entire mess.
Yeah. Any other A tiers here for you among the list?
Return of the Jedi.
Yes.
Return of the Jedi.
Can't forget about Return of the Jedi.
I think it is a great ending. For me, I just love how everything ended, how everything concluded. Even though George Lucas really didn't have a plan with this series, he was just going by ear, and I think he did a really good job. Like I said before, George Lucas is a story visionary. He is great at creating ideas, but he's not great at executing the ideas, especially of this being the director. He should have just stayed focused on the story. He should have stayed focused on the story itself instead of being the one to direct it. He should have had different directors or even the same directors. And I think the prequels would have been so much better, less drama within the cast and all of that. So yeah, I'm going on an entire rant over here. Return of the Jedi for me, I love Return of the Jedi with all my heart. I think the original trilogy is just overall greatness for me.
I agree. Yeah, it definitely has earned its spot here as an A tier. It's again one of the most rewatched movies of my life. I've seen Return of the Jedi a billion times, and I can't wait to watch it over and over and over again with my daughter when she gets old enough. Chris says, I don't even watch the sequels. Last Jedi didn't make sense to me. A slow chase in space. Like watching the 2011 Phillies. Nice. Yeah, I understand. And this is like where the divisiveness started. Well, when did The Last Jedi come out? Do you know? That's really
Jedi?
The Last Jedi. Yeah, that's
2018?
2016, 2017, 2018, something like that. That's when really, like it just became a rotten spot on
2017.
2017 Last Jedi. So I like Last Jedi. I like that it was focused on moving the Star Wars Skywalker saga forward. I liked how it was trying to move it forward rather than look at the past and look backward. It didn't happen. We all know what happened with the Rise of Skywalker, but anyway, I actually respect it at the A tier. I like for what it stood for. Any other A tiers in there? I agree with Return of the Jedi 100% wholeheartedly. Any thoughts on like the one that I'm looking at here is
Force Awakens for me.
Really?
Yes.
Okay.
Force Awakens. I really love the Force. See, this is the thing. The Force Awakens was a fantastic way to start on the new trilogy, the new trilogy. I feel like if they continued that storyline, instead of hey, a director come in new the way we got Last Jedi. I think the Last Jedi is what made the Force Awakens a little bit bad. Is because like I said before, the planning. They say there was planning, but there wasn't planning. Nothing made sense as a whole. But the Force Awakens, the introduction of Finn, I really love the introduction of Finn. I really love the introduction of Kylo Ren. That was probably the most badass introductions in Star Wars is Kylo Ren. And then you have Finn, like I said, Finn, you have Poe. That started a whole new fan base with like Poe and Penn stands over there, which for me, I think is just fun. I'm not one of those type of people that ships people, but that I love to see other people's do it because it just creates a great atmosphere for the fan base. So I really love that. Like I said before, I think it was a fantastic start, and if they could have kept on focusing on that storyline, that story arc of what they were going, instead of Last Jedi being something totally different. Even though I love The Last Jedi, if they could have kept that storyline flow all the way through, it would have been so much better.
I think you just nailed it. I think you pretty much summed it up on my end because you look at Force Awakens and you look at The Last Jedi. Whereas like Force Awakens, for me, it was like just a pure popcorn movie. Like it was not depth, not deep. It was just it was okay. It was an okay film. And then you look at The Last Jedi, then you look at The Rise of Skywalker, and I think The Force Awakens actually looks worse now from where it was. So I would probably give it a B, but we can keep it there at A. I have no problem with that. I love J.J. Abrams, but every time, dude, I still have like PTSD when it comes to like Finn, when it comes to Poe, like these characters were just completely butchered.
Yeah, but that's not because of The Force Awakens. That's because
I know,
of Jedi and
you got to look at it together, right? Like I look at Return of the Jedi. It was the conclusion, and it was so earned, and it was so well done. Luke wins, Vader loses, he's redeemed. Like there's so many amazing elements to that. Other than the Ewoks, I wasn't a fan of the Ewoks. But I will keep it at an A. Let's move on to a B. And I'm gonna throw Revenge of the Sith in here. Revenge of the Sith, I think, is one of the like most interesting films among Star Wars movies. There's people out there that think this is the best movie in Star Wars.
I know.
It's pretty wild. Like in terms of lightsaber battles, right up there, man. That final battle between Obi-Wan and Anakin can be. It's not much can rival that, unless you're talking about animated and we're talking about Darth Maul versus Ahsoka. That's a completely different story. I like that better. But anyway, the Revenge of the Sith, I'm going to put out a B tier. It struggled developing Anakin so much. You cannot deny that. Mm-hmm. You cannot deny that Clone Wars Anakin is so much better than live action Anakin.
Night and day.
Night and day. It's not even close. Like you look at Clone Wars Anakin, he's stoic and he's heroic and he's determined. You look at live action Anakin, he's a boy, he's unsure. It just doesn't work. So I'll put Revenge of the Sith at a B. Any thoughts on that?
I would put it at a C or a D, to be honest.
Wow. Okay. Let's put it at a C.
Yeah, I'll put it at a C. Like I said before, George Lucas has a great mind for stories. Like for me, the prequels is a great story, but the execution of that story is done poorly. The action, I guess the action was fine for when it was, but to me, the action is way too over choreographed. It's just off to me now. Especially, I think the best fight scenes are in like The Rise of Skywalker, even though it's probably the worst like story thing. We'll get into that. But for me, I'm not a fan of the third act either because it does too much. Clone Wars, I feel like what you said before, the Clone Wars helps smooth things over, but that shouldn't happen. The movies are the ones that's supposed to help people realize the fall of Anakin Skywalker. But for me, I think the acting was terrible. But with Anakin, I think it was just terrible all the way from Phantom Menace, Attack of the Clones, and not Rise of Skywalker, but Revenge of the Sith. I think Hayden Christensen is a great actor. His other movies are fantastic, but the way George Lucas handled everything, like I said, should have been different directors. He could have helped write it, but directing isn't his thing, and I'm just not a fan of how they executed Revenge of the Sith, Attack of the Clones, or Phantom Menace.
Awesome. All right. Any other B tiers on this list?
Rise of Skywalker. I'm going to get hate for this. Rise of Skywalker.
All right. Go ahead.
The reason why I put Rise of Skywalker is because, look, I know people didn't like the twist of Palpatine, of Rey being a Palpatine. I wasn't a fan of that either. I think they just forced Palpatine in it. Now, look, if Palpatine was in it, he should have been teased throughout the entire trilogy, but he wasn't. Like we said before, they focused too much on nostalgia with these movies, and it just like the prequels, poor execution. But yeah, I really love the action sequences and Rise of Skywalker, especially between Rey and Kylo Ren. I really love that. I really wish that I really love the moment with Han Solo coming back. That should have been fleshed out a lot more throughout the trilogy, but it is what it is. That, like I said, the execution was done poorly, but the moments in Rise of Skywalker are amazing. And for me, the acting was still phenomenal in Rise of Skywalker from Adam Driver, from Daisy Ridley, from Finn, from everybody. I think I really love the trilogy, but the trio between Finn, Poe, and Rey. I really love Chewbacca is still in here. I really love that we get BB-8. I really love BB-8. He's up there with R2-D2 with me and C-3PO for me. Like I said, the moments, every single moment in Rise of Skywalker is amazing to me, but they do not flow well in Rise of Skywalker. But like I said, moments, it's still a B tier for me. I really love this movie with all my heart.
All right, I would probably give it in that E range. Oh man, it's so bad. It feels like it felt like going on like this like super hyped roller coaster, and it just sucked. It just sucked. I mean, there was no loop-de-loop. There was no like downhill spin. Like there were a couple action scenes that were fun. The only really thing I liked about the Rise of Skywalker was there was a lot of tie-ins with Rebels and Clone Wars in that, and that was kind of fun. That first 5 minutes. After that, like I hated it.
You didn't like the fight with Palpatine and Rey. You didn't like the
No, man. No. Like one of my least favorite tropes is like when the bad guy goes good and then it becomes good again, like, and they flip flop. I hate that. I absolutely hate it. It would have been so much better if they, went a different way, which I thought Rian Johnson was going. But anyway, I'll give this an E. What should we settle on, C or D? C?
D is fine.
D is fine. All right, we're gonna bump this down to D here. And I'm gonna
hated it that much. Goodness.
Yeah, man. Yeah, it was awful. No, I remember being so angry.
I was screaming in the theater. I was living up to the hype. I was happy.
I was crying. I'm gonna throw Solo here up to a C. All right. Solo a C, and I think this is like one of the most like misjudged films out there. Like if you put Force Awakens at an A, Solo's the same film. It's literally the same exact kind of film. It's pure popcorn fun. It's just meant to be fun. There's a lot to like. I love the beginning journey of Han and Chewie. I think you have Lando there. That's really fun. There's definitely a lot to love about Solo, and I think this is a film that's vastly underrated. Mm-hmm. It was marketed terrible. It went through a ton of shit behind the scenes, like with directors leaving, and I think pound for pound, Solo is definitely considered one of the worst, but I don't think it's nearly as bad. So I'm going to go C. What do you say?
Yeah, so Solo has been through a lot. What's the DC counterpart of Solo? The one that keeps getting the Flash. That's what it's like, and that sucks. Who directed this movie? Who directed this movie again?
Solo? I don't know. I'll tell you in a second.
But yeah, I think the director who did this did a great job for what he got. I really love Kira. I really love her in there. I really love Han Solo's story. The way he got his name was stupid. I really love Lando. Donald Glover did a perfect job playing Lando. Would I want the Lando series? Hell yeah. I'm excited for that.
Of course.
Yeah, I really love it. For me personally, I would probably put it in B tier.
Really?
C tier is fine. I'm perfectly fine with that.
We don't have a B movie. I'm good with putting it up a notch.
Okay, and then B tier it is.
Done.
I also do love the score, and then we get Darth Maul at the end. See,
yeah,
I really Solo and Rogue One does a great job with their endings, and they help like, hey, what's going to happen next? I feel like they do a perfect job doing that. I really love Solo. I really love Rogue One.
Oh, I thought I was the only one.
I think it gets so much hate because of the marketing. The marketing was just total. It was just terrible. And then the way they displaced this film, it wasn't like March or some random month instead of being like in December where they usually are at. I feel like they were trying to be like in the MCU with having multiple films throughout the year, which is fine. But you need to be more organized. They weren't organized at the time, so hopefully they're more organized now with their movies and their TV shows. So I'm excited for the future. Hopefully they are a lot more organized.
Before we get to the last two films, Star Wars Resistance. Have you seen that?
I've watched a couple episodes and I thought it was terrible.
Okay. I'm going to give it like an NA because I never watched it.
That's fine. I was going to give it an F, but NA is fine.
All right. We'll put it like in limbo here. All right. Any other? I think we left off at C, right?
Yeah, we left off at C. Yeah.
Any other C's on this list? Nope. All right, let's go to D. Lead us off, man.
No D's. No D's.
Let's go. I think I would agree with that. Let's go to E. No
E's.
No. All right. You know what? I'm going to add Attack of the Clones here. I know it's like really hated on, but my love for Clone Wars and Rebels and Bad Batch just coming out, I think, or even Jedi Fallen Order, which was a really great video game, it definitely made this movie a lot more tolerable. For me personally, I thought it just made it more interesting. Like, I hated this movie when it came out. I always have. But then I watched the Clone Wars. I finished the Clone Wars. Then I watched Star Wars Rebels. I finished Rebels. Then the Clone Wars came back. We finished that. And there is definitely like a part of me that makes me like more interested in Attack of the Clones because of the Clone Wars success. So I'm going to go E. Any thoughts on that?
Yeah. It's an F for me. That movie was god awful. Oh my goodness, that was with Yoda jumping around like a bunny rabbit, right?
Yeah, it was.
The clones.
100%.
Yoda and Dooku fighting it out. I was never a fan of Yoda being the one that just jumps around like a bunny. The story was god awful. No, I wouldn't say it was god awful. The story I really love, like the his planning of the story, but like I said, the execution just makes everything just shit awful. It's like, what is it? It's like shit. It's like shit first, then gold. You have to grab all the shit out so you can get to the gold. And I don't want to do that. I don't want to do that. It had so much potential. And same with Phantom Menace, same with Revenge of the Sith. So much potential, but wasted because of the execution. Thank you, George Lucas, for directing these movies. Don't ever direct again for me. Don't.
All right.
Yeah, Attack of the Clones is F for me.
All right, F. Where are we putting? Just finish this off, man. Phantom Menace. F.
Phantom Menace. F. F.
I mean, the only good thing we got from the Phantom Menace was that epic film score. The dueling fates.
Duel of Fates. Yeah.
Duel of Fates. That was.
I really like the Actually, put it at E tier for me. I really do like the Qui-Gon versus Darth Maul versus Obi-Wan fight. Just because of that reason, I'll put it in E tier. I'll bump it up one.
All right. E tier for Phantom Menace. There it is. And we got introduced to Darth Maul, who's terrific. And a character by far, like if we had to make a top 5 characters pod, Darth Maul, right up there. Right freaking up there. In fact, yeah, anyway, that's another part. But anyway, here is our list. What's your quick thought with our list here of Star Wars TV series and films? I have a thought here.
You can go first.
Dave Filoni. In Dave Filoni, we trust. We know Kevin Feige is now president, I think, or something along those lines. He's heading Star Wars, I believe, moving forward. Now that they're under the umbrella of Disney, there's a lot to look forward to. There's a lot of optimism compared to where it was. So you look at Clone Wars, you look at Rebels, you look at Mandalorian. I think there's a lot of just reason for optimism with the 2 leads. Jon Favreau, I need to mention Jon Favreau. There's a lot of room for optimism for Star Wars moving forward as they try and go back to the Old Republic or the High Republic and create new stories and new characters. I think Star Wars truly found its footing with being that space western, and that is definitely, even though they kind of use a lot of the old tropes of Star Wars, using that as ground for more stories, I think is the strength of Star Wars, and I think they found that.
For me, my last thoughts, at least, like you said earlier, I'm ready for the future. Clone Wars does a great job. Did a great job with season was it season 8? Yeah, did a perfect job with that. A lot of people didn't like the filler with the Ahsoka and the Underground and all of that. I really loved it personally. It helped ground Ahsoka as a character. I really love that. Rebels, and with Clone Wars, Rebels, we're expanding on that, and I really love that. Yeah. With the Mandalorian, with the Book of Boba Fett. Yeah. So yeah, I'm really excited for the future with the Acolyte. We're getting Visions, which is super exciting to see. Just everything about Star Wars right now is just looking very, very good, especially since Kathleen Kennedy is not really looking to be like a creative producer. I think she's passing that along to Dave Filoni and Jon Favreau, which I feel like is a great idea because personally, I think Kathleen Kennedy is an amazing producer. She produced so many great films. She helped Star Wars make a bunch of money. You guys can hate her all you want, but she is a fantastic producer. Without her, we wouldn't have Dave Filoni creating The Mandalorian. We wouldn't have Jon Favreau creating The Mandalorian without Kathleen Kennedy. So despite all the hate you guys have because of Solo, because of Rise of Skywalker, it's because of Kathleen Kennedy that we're getting the Acolyte, we're getting Book of Boba Fett, we're getting Lando series, we're getting just so many other series. We're getting Ahsoka,
Obi-Wan.
Yeah, we're getting a lot. And that's thanks to Kathleen Kennedy. That's thanks to her planning. That's thanks to Jon Favreau. That's thanks to Dave Filoni. Specifically, those two, I think, I think they're going to be like the Kevin Feige of Star Wars, which is exciting because their love for Star Wars is like, it's up there.
Yeah.
I'm not going to say I'm as high as they are, but they're like God tier level over there. So it's just exciting to see what's going to happen next.
Love it. All right. On deck tonight, we have the Bad Batch review coming out. We're going to review the premiere probably around 7 o'clock East Coast time, just in a few hours. So stay tuned for that. We also have our first, in a long time, movie draft going down. And this time we're going to be doing movie villains, the best movie villains. My man, I think you got the 7th pick in the draft. I got the second to last pick in the draft. I don't get any breaks. Every single draft, I get like the second or last pick.
That's okay. I'm going to pick villains that probably nobody knows. So.
Me too. Good, be awesome. I do have a strategy in place. And maybe we'll talk off camera. I think it's a very good strategy. But anyway, make sure you guys follow us on YouTube and hit that subscribe button. The Suit Up Geeks channel. Please subscribe. Please like this video if you love Star Wars. If you don't like Star Wars, like it anyway because Star Wars rocks.
It's despite all the prequels misgivings.
Thank you, everybody, for watching. Happy Star Wars Day. Stay awesome.